Hey, what's up? It's Rick Dees in the morning. Right now, Vendog.
3, 2, 1.
Access granted.
Vendog Radio Live starts right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Welcome Wednesday edition of Vendog Radio Live. We are going to be talking about everything that has to do with Israel, the Middle East, etc., and so forth. So if you are on YouTube, please do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. If you are on the infamous Rumble, yes, please hit it up on Rumble at Vendog Radio USA on Rumble. It is going to be a doozy today. If you are on Gatter, Gettr, thank you to Jason Miller, the entire Gatter front office staff on Gatter, because it does get better with Gatter. Thank you guys so much for doing that. If you're on X, formerly known as Twitter, please help the algorithms to get stronger on X. We are trying to grow on X, but hey, we just do what we can do, right? Hey, and this will be pushed live to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, TuneIn Radio, and wherever you shall download, broadcast, and podcast. And coming up on the other side of the break, Brother John Haller will be joining us at the top of the hour. And I thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you guys for your support financially. And also, number one support is your prayers. We do appreciate the prayer, and we thank you so much for that. Oh, my goodness, folks. There is a lot coming up in the month of May to finish it off. And also coming up in June, we're trying to have some treats for you guys as well. But we thank you guys so much for help growing the channel, and please continue to pray for growth, not only for the channel, but also my personal relationship and my family's personal relationship with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because that is most important at the end of the day. Thank you to my wonderful moderators for doing such a beautiful job every single time. And please, I do ask people in the audience to be respectful of one another and also of our guest when they appear on the show. And it's just one of those things I must please ask you to do, because we are all trying to grow together. We're learning and growing in our Lord Jesus. And I thank you, Lord, for that. It is a wonderful Wednesday afternoon, and hopefully you guys are going to sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation that Brother Haller and I are going to have. And also, just so you know, we are going to do a Q&A session. Yes, we're going to do a Q&A session. You guys get to call in and ask John questions this afternoon. My moderators will put the number in the live chat. This will be for the subscribers of the channel and more, to have a conversation with Mr. John Haller live. Yes, indeed. You get to call in and ask a question, but I must please ask to be respectful and keep the questions brief. And yes, we will definitely do that. And if any my moderators want to call in and ask questions that the audience members have in the live chat, that will be great as well. All right. Coming up on the other side, like I said, my dear friend John Haller. When we return, thank you and welcome for listening to Vendog Radio Live and also viewing on all video platforms.
Follow us on all of the socials at Vendog Radio. We'll be right back with more Vendog Radio Live after this.
Sir, yes, sir!
Nevin, just like Nevin. Yes, Nevin sunglasses are the best, guys. Neveneyewear just sent me these. These are the steel blue. I'm telling you, it is ready for you and your crew. Click the link below or the QR code. Buy some glasses, man. You can buy one and get two free with a special gift. Nevin. Oh yeah, look at my thermometer. Hey, what's happening, everybody? Vendog here. Now go to my website right now and order some merch for yourself. Hundreds of items to choose from. Men, women, children, pets, you name it, we got it for everybody. Yes, indeed. That is vendogradio.myspreadshop.com. VINNDOGG radio.myspreadshop.com. Log on today and grab your gear. We have the latest. Yes, if you love Jesus, get your gear. vendogradio.myspreadshop.com. That's vendogradio.myspreadshop.com. Don't delay. Get shopping today. Hello, my friends. Vindog here. Thank you for your support of the broadcast. I just want to tell you that in advance. And as you're watching, if you feel it led on your heart by the Lord to support the broadcast, yes, I am hitting the QR codes for you right there just to click on them. You can support us by hitting the Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. That's right, Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. And thank you so much for your prayers, because that's the number one thing we need. Thank you so much for supporting Vindog Radio Live. Vindog Radio popping off. God bless.
Before the world calls it choice, we must see the people who survived it.
This is a type of abortion designed to tear apart the fetus in the womb and bring them out in pieces. I've spent my life with a deformed arm.
So she tried to abort me in multiple attempts. However, I miraculously survived.
She didn't know I was still alive until she felt me move.
Go to facesofchoice.org to take part in bringing the message of abortion survivors to the 2026 World Cup. Billions will face the choice.
Now, back to the man on a mission for the King of Glory, Jesus Christ. Vindog Radio.
Welcome back to Vindog Radio Live, ladies and gentlemen. And I was just thinking about something that the Pope said recently. He said that Islam is the religion of peace. I beg to differ of that, Pope Leo, Mr. Chicago guy. So, you know, well, they're used to mafia stuff in Chicago, so that's another ball game for that. But I got to tell you, he says it is the religion of peace. Well, I'm going to show you that it is not the religion of peace. And yeah, here we go. Check this out, my friends. Listen to the
نحن من أقام هذه الحرب نحن من أقام هذه الحرب نحن من سننهيها نحن من سننهيها خص الظالم والداني نحن الأسود نحن الأبطال نحن القضاء آخر قطرة في دمنا حتى بنقدم ونضحي لما نموت كلنا في سبيل الله الأعلى خص الغازي والداني خص الاحتلال خص نتنياهو إلى الله نشتكي ليس حق العرب
Does that sound like a religion of peace? Doesn't sound like it to me. That's not a religion of peace, folks. That is, how could I say this? It is an ideology. It's not a religion of peace, Pope. Pope with no hope is telling us that that's the religion of peace. I just want to thank you guys so much for being here. Coming up next week on Monday, we have Leslie Sawyer from Mountaintop Media, and she is also with Moms for Liberty in California, from Shasta County, California. She will be here on Monday, joining us for a wonderful episode of Vindog Radio Live. And then I might decide to work, even though it is a very big week for me to do some stuff. But also on the 26th of May, when we follow up, we're going to have Pastor Brandon Holthouse, 10,000% live. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful episode, and I can't wait for that episode to happen. It's going to be good. I'm pretty sure we're not going to have anything short of nothing to talk about. It's going to be a terrific finish to the month of May. And I just ask you guys, continue to please pray for the broadcast to continue to grow. We are heading towards the end of the age, but we're also heading to the beginning of eternal life with our Lord Jesus Christ. And that is a beautiful thing. I cannot stress that enough. I think it's going to be great, and I am excited about that. And hopefully you guys are as well. We're just waiting for John Haller to pop in, and he should be doing that very, very soon. But so what's on your mind today, everybody? Because I know there's a lot going on in the world, and it is just wild and going bonkers. 6 ways to Sunday and 32 from Tuesday. But that's all right. You know, we still have a promise. We have a great hope. And I know a lot of people are trying to, get that blessed hope, but they're looking for it in the wrong places. That's all I got to say about that. All right. So we're going to take a little rewind back to yesterday and, pull up a couple vids. And I don't know if you guys were here yesterday, but this was at the top of the heat. Check this out.
Excuse me, Miss Wong.
Can we speak with you about these allegations?
Only on Fox 11, the former.
Okay, so this lady, Eileen Wong, was caught being an operative for the CCP. Go figure with that, right? She was definitely caught. Wow. She has no explanation for that for her constituents, but she just, let's just say that what she did was an act of treason, but it seems like nothing is done to these people. But this is just like small potatoes compared to what's really going on. People purchasing property near military bases and et cetera and so forth. I mean, think about it, folks. America is being invaded, and it's crazy. But Stella Escobedo for One American News, and she's also independent, and she does great work. I have to have her on one of these days when she gets unbusy schedule, because she's just like busy covering a lot of stuff. But I want you to listen to what she says.
Former mayor of Arcadia confronted on camera.
Is there anything you want to say to your constituents?
Eileen.
Okay, so this story of China getting caught inside of America is bigger than one person. Listen to this. The mayor of Arcadia, California, just outside of LA, Eileen Wang, has admitted in a federal plea deal to spying for Beijing, taking orders, or her fiance was also involved at the time. Now, the two published propaganda through a news website that looked like a community website, and they'd report back to their handlers in China. But this is bigger than one mayor. So Chinese buyers have actually flooded California real estate, cash deals above asking price, pricing Americans out of their own neighborhoods. It's weird. There's a lot of weird shenanigans happening. And investigators have also identified Chinese linked land purchases near nearly 19 U.S. military bases across the United States, including bases that house America's nuclear arsenal. This isn't isolated. It's a pattern. Lawmakers have been warned. They've seen the reports. They've heard the alarming statistics. It's time for Washington to get off the sidelines.
Yep, it is time for Washington to get off the sidelines and start doing something. But it is also up to us as believers to share the gospel while we can. And you just never know. We might run into an individual that's caught up in that ideology, and it will change their life if they really did learn about the real true and living God in Jesus Christ. Man, just so much potential in that, right? It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, friends. So I'm going to check on and see what happened to Brother Haller. And we are going to take a break because there is on the radio side going to be a news break real quick here for about 2.5 minutes. So we'll be right back.
Follow us on all of the socials at Vindog Radio. We'll be right back with more Vindog Radio Live after this.
Sir, yes, sir!
Nevin! Just like Nevin. Yes, Nevin sunglasses are the best, guys. Neveneyewear just sent me these. These are the steel blue. I'm telling you, it is ready for you and your crew. Click the link below or the QR code. Buy some glasses, man. You can buy one and get two free with a special gift. Nevin. Oh yeah, look at my thermometer.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Vindog here. Now go to my website right now and order some merch for yourself. Hundreds of items to choose from. Men, women, children, pets, you name it, we got it for everybody. Yes, indeed. That is vindogradio.myspreadshop.com. VINNDOGG radio.myspreadshop.com. Log on today and grab your gear. We have the latest. Yes, if you love Jesus, get your gear. vindogradio.myspreadshop.com. That's vindogradio.myspreadshop.com. Don't delay. Get shopping today. Hello, my friends. Vindog here. Thank you for your support of the broadcast. I just want to tell you that in advance, that as you're watching, if you feel it led on your heart by the Lord to support the broadcast, yes, I am hitting the QR codes for you right there just to click on them. You can support us by hitting the Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. That's right, Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. And thank you so much for your prayers, because that's the number one thing we need. Thank you so much for supporting Vindog Radio Live. Vindog Radio popping off. God bless.
Before the world calls it choice, we must see the people who survived it.
This is a type of abortion designed to tear apart the fetus in the womb and bring them out in pieces. I've spent my life with a deformed arm.
So she tried to abort me in multiple attempts. However, I miraculously survived.
She didn't know I was still alive until she felt me move.
Go to facesofchoice.org to take part in bringing the message of abortion survivors to the 2026 World Cup. Billions will face the choice.
Now, back to the man on a mission for the King of Glory, Jesus Christ. Vindog Radio.
Look, there are massive divisions over what we've done here, and people are going to change their minds over the coming days and weeks, one way or the other. But my own feeling is no one should have to die for a foreign country. I don't think those 4 service members died for the United States. I think they died for Iran or for Israel. I think I understand how this helps Iran perfectly well. I get it. I mean, I hope. Long term, we'll see. But they seem rather jubilant. 80% of the country does not support the Ayatollah. He was a terrible, terrible man. No one's crying that he's dead. No normal person. But our government's job is not to look out for Iran or for Israel. It's to look out for us. And this feels very much to me like it is clearly Israel's war. Mark Levin wanted it. It's his war. Ben Shapiro, Lindsey Graham, Miriam Adelson. That's obvious. They're the ones who've been pushing us in.
No, not yet. Let's see. So John Haller is trying to get connected. I'm trying to get him in here right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just been a crazy deal with Megyn Kelly, like how she flip-flopped real quick. Sad, right? But that's just the way things are happening right now. Let me tell John that he's not connected. All right. So it's been a crazy few days learning about these people. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, John Haller is connected, and it's thanks to him that I got this brand new camera. John, how you doing, brother?
Okay.
And thanks to you, I love the brand new OBSBot camera.
Okay.
Yeah, and it really worked.
Do I get a referral fee for that?
Yeah, you should. You should. You should. I mean, this thing is absolutely amazing. And I didn't realize how small the camera was.
So did you get the tail air?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. I think that's the best one. Mm-hmm. There's one that's twice as much, but I can't figure out that it does twice as much.
Mm-hmm. I was like, wow. I was amazed when I installed it, and then I did test it when I walked around the office, and I'm like, wow, this thing really does follow you, and it focuses in perfect.
Yeah, so I try to kick mine back to maybe 720p because at my age, 1080p is not necessarily a complimentary camera look.
Yeah, I try to put mine down to 360 because having a face for radio does that for people.
That's right. So yeah, by the way, so everybody goes like, what are they talking about? And it's like we're talking about important things. So I do think that this is it's a great camera. I'm heading to DC for a meeting next week, and I'm going to take it with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've looked at that Osmo Pocket.
Oh yeah.
I played around with one in Israel. I'm not sure I like it. I also have a gimbal thing here for my iPhone.
Oh,
nice. The only thing I don't like about it is it's kind of hard to get it balanced right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I've not found a good. I just don't think I found a good solution here. And then I have these little DJI mics, which are pretty good when you're on the road.
Oh, those are perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they travel well.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully I'm going to be able to do some interviews next week or get some lined up and everything. I've been kind of laying low the last couple months traveling and speaking and we were sick, and then somebody decided to take out my car.
Oh no.
2 weeks ago, so I was coming home and I was stopped on the road pretty close to the house. I mean, quarter mile maybe. And the guy was turning left into his driveway. And I've lived up here 6 years. I've never seen a guy turning left into that driveway. Right. And there's a couple subdivisions before and after him, and they all have left turn lanes. But there's no left turn lane there. And I was sitting there and I saw this kind of flash coming at me at rather high speed. The guy so she hit me. She was doing about 55 when she hit me. Fortunately, she had a Honda Civic, so it wasn't that big of a big Ford F-150 or something might have killed me really at that speed.
Wow.
So it pushed me into totaled her car, totaled my car. And then it pushed me into the guy in front. Probably did about 10 grand damage to the guy who was stopped to turn left. So I've been dealing with insurance companies and rental cars and trying to get everything put together. So, but I got a new car yesterday. So.
Oh, nice. So you did get a new car.
I did. I had a Prius. I love the Prius. I love 55 miles to the gallon, but you've met me. I'm not exactly, I always say I'm a 2X guy in a 1X world. And so I rented a Prius down in Texas when I spoke at Hope for Our Times last year. And I almost needed to, get a massage on my neck before I got into the car because I'm just glad nobody thought to take a YouTube video of me trying to get in or out of that Prius. And it's a great car, but I moved up. I found a Camry they rented me a Camry, and I kind of like that. It's close to 50 miles per gallon also with a hybrid engine. So,
oh, wow.
It's a pretty good car, So my little 180,000 mile relationship with my Prius was terminated suddenly.
Unfortunately. Oh man.
And nobody ever thinks it's as good a car as, and I can just see people are dropping off right now. Like, what are they talking about? We're talking about life, folks.
And it's like what, 30 something bucks to fill the tank on a Prius?
In California, maybe, but
yes.
Until it seems like about 5 weeks ago, we were paying like $2. It depends what kind of gas you use. Sheetz is a chain, and they sell an E88. It's 15% ethanol, but it's 88 octane. And so I run a little bit of that, and that's usually 50 cents a gallon cheaper than regular.
Right.
So, but now we're probably $4.69 for $4.96 for regular, which is like historic. I don't ever remember it being this high in Ohio. $4.65 close.
And we're hitting $7 a gallon in this area.
And my wife uses premium, so I could actually go over to, wow. Costco has it for $4.37, $4.36 down the street. So
yikes.
But the sheets are, they've got, like I said, they've got this E88 stuff, and it's good gas. Right now, I could go get that for $3.87.
Oh, okay. $3.87 a gallon.
Which sounds like a bargain,
Yeah, it does. These days,
6 weeks ago, we would have said, "Who think you're going to?" Well, I'm not going to pay $3.87. So it's 50 cents a gallon cheaper than the regular gasoline, and then premium is shooting at about $5.37. That's pretty high, but you guys out there, I don't know. I'd have to get another job just to drive a few miles a day.
I'm walking a few miles now.
But it's funny. Isn't it funny, Vinny, that it's like you complain about the cost of a hamburger, but you don't really complain that much about putting gas in your car.
Yeah, it's
You
strange.
know?
Strange.
Well, it's just sort of like you don't have any choice if you're going to go someplace. You don't
Mhm.
have to eat a hamburger. So
No.
anyway, but
Well, you have
life
to have a
goes on.
Terminator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Terminator. That's right, over at the Thurman Cafe. I think it's 2.5 pounds of beef plus about 2 pounds of other meats.
Nice. Yeah. I still have to try that when I go and visit your church in Ohio.
I ordered a coney dog at the Thurman Cafe once, and it was about, with the coney sauce, it had to be close to 1.5 pounds,
Mm.
which is a pretty big hot dog.
Yikes.
Okay.
So
Enough
this
small
morning,
talk.
I was watching you with David Bowen, and
Mhm.
man, that was some interesting stuff that he was talking about. The things
Yeah,
that
well, you had him on last night, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And man, I tell you, a lot of folks, like, the Megyn Kellys of the world, I call her flip flop, because at first she was on the side of Israel. Now all of a sudden she's like Muslim bound with Tucker Carlson.
I think she's my wife and I were discussing this last night, and I have a term that I want to use for her, but I'm just not sure it's good for Christian radio. It's she has really changed a lot. But when you go back and you look at her, for example, when she left Fox and she went to NBC, she was doing very pro Alphabet Mafia transgender stuff.
Yep.
And then she got her own podcast, and she kind of flipped back the other way. And I don't know what she would be like now. But listen, this nonsense that she and Tucker and Propagandist Owens and all these other people are pushing about, we don't want our boys to die for Israel. Now, look, we've been at this for we had 12 days back in June, July last year.
Mm-hmm.
We've had 70 days, or roughly, off and on in this current excursion into the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that, well, it's okay to have a few die. I don't like that, but I'm just saying is, if you remember back in last summer when we attacked the nuclear facilities,
right?
Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson, all these people were running around, wetting their pants, claiming that there would be tens of thousands of Americans dead.
Yes.
And honestly, what's the number? A dozen, maybe? I don't know. I don't even know if it's that high.
No, I don't think so.
And how many Israeli soldiers outside of Gaza and Lebanon have been killed?
Oh, a ton.
Well, in Lebanon and Gaza, they've had, I think they're around 1,000.
Yeah.
But I don't know of any in Iran. You know? And so and this is kind of unprecedented in war.
Mm-hmm.
And so because so many people are pushing this narrative that tens of thousands are going to die, is there no accountability for them?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not. Nobody's holding them accountable, and their predictions have just been wrong. So there's guys. I exercise some pretty good discipline in my life, and I stopped watching, for the most part, War Room with Steve Bannon. And I got a lot of information from there, but it just was like he was bringing on these deeply pro-Iranian, pro-Muslim, anti-Israel guests. Like there's a guy who's with, I can't even remember his organization now, Treat a Parsi. And it was very pro-Iranian. He started another think tank type thing. And he's very, very pro-Iranian. And he's just awful. He's just awful.
Wow.
And the worst one is probably Kurt Mills. Kurt is, I can't remember the name of the, there's I don't know if it's American. Yeah, the American Conservative. And he's this snarky little guy who is like intellectually vapid. He can't really make a case or argue. And he twists everything to support his narrative. And it's very dishonest. It's very shallow. And he's on Bannon all the time. And it's like, he's not even good. So Kurt Mills would channel, I would say Kurt Mills channels Patrick Buchanan. Patrick Buchanan was the first one, or the guy who started the American Conservative. And Patrick Buchanan was no friend of Israel, never was a friend of Israel. Conservative on a lot of issues, but terrible, just absolutely terrible.
Wow.
On the issue of Israel. And it hurt his career. He made it in, to some White House positions and that type of thing. But it just, he's still alive. I think he's probably late 80s now. But Kurt Mills has sort of picked up the torch from Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just so intellectually stupid and empty Israel haters and Jew haters. And they can say all day that they're not, but it's very easy to see if you're just paying even a little bit of attention.
Yeah, it's actually like disgusting when you think about it. I'm like, wow. I never thought it would come out of the mouth of Steve Bannon of all people.
Well, Bannon's, the other thing that is I'm noticing on War Room is they're doing everything except holding mass, Catholic mass, on some of the segments.
Mm-hmm.
It's very Catholic. And evangelicals and Catholics have long had some very serious differences. And when you talk about them, people get really upset. I was at a large church and I was in an apologetics class. I was not teaching it. I think the teacher was gone, who was a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody brought up transubstantiation. And I said what it was. And this Catholic guy goes, I was Catholic all my life. I've never heard such nonsense. And I said, well, then you didn't have a very good priest that didn't teach you what Catholics believe, that the bread and cup become the actual body and blood of Jesus, mystically, literally. And so the result of it is that Jesus is re-sacrificed over and over and over again in every mass, in every Catholic church, every day of the year. And that's just their doctrine. And it's totally false.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought that up, and boy, I got kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say read the riot act, but told, well, you shouldn't have discussed it in open. And I'm like, well, the guy asked what it was. I answered the question. What I said was truthful. Why shouldn't I say that? This is an evangelical church. I don't understand that thinking. So, but I would say that on the War Room sphere of influence, it's become heavily Catholic. And this is what's happening to, Propagandist Owens. She said she converted to Catholicism, and she doesn't know what she's talking about half the time.
Oh, she's got nothing.
Right.
Mhm.
And so, I'm not saying that Candace Owens is bad. I'm just asking questions.
Yes. Asking for some friends.
Yeah. I'm asking for a friend. So I don't. So but I think that this Kurt Mills guy is pretty dangerous, and they act like everything exists in a vacuum. And so I think what David talked about today, what he had seen in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria, and what I personally have seen in Gaza along the border of Lebanon and Syria, you cannot expect Israeli people to live like this. If Hamas never attacked Israel, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. If Hezbollah wasn't throwing thousands of rockets into Israel right after October 7, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. If Iran was not threatening every day to take out Israel and the United States, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
Right.
And the problem that we've had far too long in politics and the church is that when these people, these Islamists say this, we sort of act like, well, they don't really mean it. But they really do mean it. And they're coming, folks. You need to understand that this is not some conspiracy theory or anything like that. This is reality.
Yep, sure is.
So let's talk about what happened over the last 48 hours, because I think this is indicative of the situation. It's actually, let's go back to late last week.
Okay.
So late last week, there was a guy who had photographed Gaza. And some of his photographs were purchased or ended up, or he was doing it for the New York Times. And if you remember back in July last year, there was that rather now famous picture of a mother holding a child with a bare back, spinal column almost exposed. And the way it was presented was, this is Israel starving children in Gaza.
I remember that.
The New York Times retracted that because it wasn't true. First of all, if you looked at the photograph, the mother was well fed. She wasn't starving.
She didn't look like it.
No. And I was able to get a picture, the full picture, which included another child of that mother, about a year older than the child in the arms, well fed.
Absolutely.
So, and this is true. Look at the pictures that you see coming out of Gaza. You see guys that look like me. They're not starving. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're pretty healthy.
In fact, when I was in Israel, I forget where we were, and I said to somebody, please don't mistake me for a starving Gaza person.
Starving Gaza.
Well, and it's funny because, in Arab culture, if you're a big guy, they assume you're wealthy. So many years ago, I was walking through the old city in the Arab quarter, and you kind of learn, don't make eye contact unless you want to get stuck. So I was walking through the city, and I made eye contact with the shop owner.
Oh, no.
And he looked right at me, and he goes, hello there, big man. You must be very wealthy. Come, let me show you many things. It's exactly what he said. And so I'm like, I understand this, but they had a marathon last week in Gaza. Did you know that?
No.
A marathon. There were, I would say, thousands of people participating, certainly at least hundreds. A marathon in Gaza, starving, decimated Gaza. Go, you look it up. It's the pictures and videos are all over the internet. So anyway, so this guy did this photograph of the baby. It was completely falsely characterized in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And the New York Times retracted that. Last week, Pulitzer Prize for photography was given to this guy.
Wow.
And I can't remember the explanation as to why, but so here's this fakely curated photograph, and a guy for that and some other photographs gets a Pulitzer Prize. Probably the highest prize in at least news photography.
Mm-hmm.
Something's not right. Something is not right.
This doesn't add up.
Right. So that was the end of last week. And that was just sort of percolating through the comments on X and whatnot. And then Monday, the New York Times released an article. Now, I don't think it's been published in the paper yet, but it was a huge article on the internet. I mean, very long article. And the gist of the article was that Israel was raping male and female Palestinian prisoners, and they had trained dogs to do the raping. The article was written by Nicholas Kristof, who's won awards and has always sort of portrayed himself as this compassionate, liberal,
humanitarian
guy. Humanitarian. I want to help children. I want to stop human trafficking and that type of thing.
Right.
That article was based on nothing. Supposedly one guy had said something to this Jewish guy who's very anti-Israel, very anti-Jewish himself. I think he used to be at UCLA. I think his name is Ephraim.
Mm-hmm.
In any event, he said, well, yeah, we had talked to this guy, and then he said he had seen it happen, although he never saw any penetration or anything, but the dogs were in a very threatening position. What does that mean? You know, and then there was another guy who said, I heard somebody said that they saw it. So that's just pure hearsay. It's not proof of anything.
Right.
And they really couldn't get the guys to come forward to support the article. And I just saw the guy being interviewed on a panel on Piers Morgan with, I'm trying to think who they all were. I think it's just been put up on his podcast page in the last couple of hours. Emily Schrader from JNS and ILTV does a great job. She was on the panel. And so the guy who sort of was the source for Nicholas Kristof's article was saying, well, we didn't really have proof, but we put it out there so Israel will actually do the investigation.
Wow.
I mean, I don't want to misrepresent what he said, but it was so intellectually vapid that it's hard for me to repeat what he said and how he said it, because you have to be missing a lot of gray matter to even think that what you're saying makes sense in that regard.
Yeah.
And so that was Monday. A few hours after that, there was a report released by Israel. It's the Israel Commission on October 7th. The Israel Civil Commission on October 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And the title of it is Silenced No More. And it's a 300-page report. Sexual terror unveiled the untold atrocities of October 7th and against hostages in captivity. And they go through in great detail talking about the rape and everything that occurred. So understand, I'm not a big conspiracy theory type guy, but I can put two and two together.
Mm-hmm.
And what I put together here is the New York Times knew this report was coming out from Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And people have been expecting it for a while. And it wouldn't put it past me that somebody told the New York Times, this report is coming out. And so the New York Times published this article by they didn't call it an article. They called it an opinion piece by Nicholas Kristof. And I think I pointed out, I think I recorded something with Olivier Melnick. And my point was, I don't think it's kind of funny that the New York Times would actually label this an opinion piece, because every piece in the New York Times is an opinion piece.
Yep.
To one degree or another. So, but it was to blunt the impact, and I think it's successfully done it, the impact of this report that was released, Silence No More. And you can go find it. It's very easy to find on the internet. In my program on Sunday, I'll have links in the show notes to get there. This is what happened down there is unbelievable. I saw an interview that what's her name? She was one of the executives at Meta. Sherry Strandberg.
Yes, that's her.
Okay.
That's her. Yeah.
She was interviewing a guy. You can find this on X. I'll play the clip on Sunday. I don't think I've downloaded it yet.
Oh, okay.
And he was telling what he saw when he got to Nova on October 7th. And the guy, I know the guy. I spent an hour and a half talking to him when I was there in November, a group of us. And what he tells you, like, they were raped, they then shot them in the genitals, they cut out their genitals.
So they were John, they were gutting these people, right?
They were. Wow. And they burned them alive. There was one incident, at least one, where they cut off the breast of a woman and they played soccer with it. Oh. And they're laughing and they're filming this. I mean, there's films and video, and all these people. The problem Israel has is that Israel wanted to respect the dignity and privacy of the people that were involved. And so Israel has really, I don't think they've done a very good job of getting this information out to the public. When I was there in November, I was with an Israeli government official, and there have been some videos released. There's a 40-minute video that's pretty easy to find, and there's an October 7 website where you can find videos. But it's not really been highly publicized and pushed by the Israeli government. And I think and I told this Israeli government official, nice guy, I said, I think you're making a big mistake. And he goes, well, we have to protect the dignity of the people. And I said to him, sir, I respect you, but I'm going to tell you something. There's a museum in Jerusalem called Yad Vashem that talks about the horrors of the Holocaust in World War II. There are Holocaust museums, and I'm sure you have one out there in Los Angeles. There's one in New York. There's one in Washington, D.C. And I said, with all due respect, sir, no one cares about the dignity of the people who were the victims of the atrocities in the Holocaust. And you need to get these videos out there. So he said, well, we'll consider it. And then some young people from the government came over and said, they kind of pulled me aside and they said, here's a link, here's a web page where you can see this video. Okay. So I've seen it, and I don't want to watch that stuff. Okay. But I want to know what happened.
Right.
I don't think you can, and until you're there and walk through the houses in Gaza, by the Beavis house where the little kids were taken, and the blood on the floors, the bullet marks on the ceilings and the doors and that type of thing. I just don't think you can understand. But the interesting thing is the young people there with the government who told me about the website, they said, but you
Right.
won't be able to see this in Israel because it's blocked. And it is. I tried to access it and it wouldn't let me connect to the website because it's blocked in Israel.
But you could watch it here, right?
I can watch it here, yeah.
Mm.
And again, I don't have any desire to see that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's awful. It's really, really awful stuff. So I think that the juxtaposition of the New York Times releasing this ridiculous article by Nicholas Kristof, this opinion piece, was done to blunt the impact of this report. And there have been other reports like this. They're all consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And so the result of it, though, Israel holding back on releasing all of this information and pushing it out there to the public, is that now if they push it out, all of the Megyn Kellys, the Tucker Carlsons, the Propagandist Owens of the world,
Yeah.
will say, well, that's just fake AI made up stuff. And it's not. And I've had people, there are some weeks where you just wonder, it's like, is it worth to even talk about this stuff? Because I get these absolutely vicious comments when I talk in support of Israel.
Yep, I know the feeling.
I was called a blasphemer this week by one guy.
What?
Yeah, I was blaspheming the God of the Bible by supporting Israel. And the way he couched it was, oh, by the way, you're free to make those comments on our channel and you will be deleted and blocked.
Absolutely. 10,000%.
It doesn't take me long to make that decision. Some guy wrote to me today. This was on the alien disclosure thing. And I have my opinions on that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, you're just not, you may delete this comment. No, dude. If you say that at the beginning, understand it is going to be deleted. Because I'm a human being. I don't want to read that garbage.
Yeah.
And I think these things through. And so on alien disclosure and that type of thing, I don't like the way this is being handled.
No.
And I have all these guys running around that are saying, I had a word from the Lord. I had a word from the Lord. But listen, they've had words from the Lord that everything was going to wrap up in 2025.
That's right.
They did. Did it, by the way, or did I just miss it?
I don't think we missed it because we're still here.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's the exact point. And so I know that I think we're getting close, folks. I believe this, I believe we're in this end times. And I think things are going to happen quickly, but we got to be really careful. And I just don't like the comments that I see people making. The Lord told me. And I'm just like, how do you know that? How do I test that objectively? Especially when you've been wrong many, many times in the past.
Yeah.
And that's not the way that works.
No.
Biblically.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm sorry if people are offended by that, but I grew up in an environment that what I would call a cessationist environment. I went to a school that was a cessationist school. I had a Greek professor who was a cessationist. And he wrote a book on it. I read the book. I know what he taught. But I'm not a cessationist, but I also don't think that this miraculous stuff happens all the time, like people have stated it. And where do you draw the line between the Lord told me and the ridiculous, stupid, unbiblical nonsense you hear out of like a Paula White or a Kenneth Copeland or the Kansas City Prophets or the Vineyard, some of the Vineyard people, the Kansas City Prophets. Where do you draw the line on that?
Yeah, exactly.
The Kansas City Prophets came out of Kansas City. Kind of easy to figure that one out, right?
Yeah.
And they were the Vineyard Fellowship in Kansas City. Mike Bigelow, Bob Jones.
All the guilty guys.
Right. And how's that, by the way, how's that worked out on their own personal conduct?
No, not good for them.
I mean, did the Lord tell them that you shouldn't really be fooling around on your wife?
With
You shouldn't
all kinds of women?
prophesying over women like Bob Jones was to get them to undress.
That was crazy.
And Paul Cain. And then they all go down there. They all go run into Lakeland, Florida back around 2007, 2008 to bless Todd Bentley.
The guy who kicked the lady in the face.
Right. I kicked her with my biker in her face. Her face. The Lord told me to kick her in her face with my biker boot.
Wow.
And by the way, so you've seen the video, haven't you, of his commissioning service?
Yes.
You have Cindy Jacobs, Shay On, Peter Wagner. I think the Arnotts were there, the ones that started the Laughing Revival in the early 90s, which was that was sort of like one of the big bad things that happened. But anyway, they're all there blessing him. They're saying money, money, money. It was either Stacy Campbell or somebody. They're like shaking their head like they've got a demon. It was not, from that time of that commissioning service, God's going to do great things through Todd Bentley. There's going to be a great outpouring, a great revival. Less than 48 hours later, Bentley ran off with a ministry worker, left his wife and family. And how many recycled things have we gone through with Todd Bentley?
A ton.
Right. And these are permanently disqualifying from ministry of any kind. And I've dealt with this in my ministry career, Vinny. I've had situations where people have done wrong things. They've gotten fired.
Right.
And I've been in meetings where people wanted to rehire the guy.
Wow.
And I said, when you really break this down, what this person did was not just a sexual impropriety. It was very much deliberate and manipulative, and I'm not remembering the word that I wanted to use a couple minutes ago, but it was predatory. It was absolutely clearly predatory what this person did.
Okay.
And you want to hire them? Well, we're people of grace. And I said, we're people of grace, but we're not supposed to be stupid.
Yeah. You don't restore someone that's
no. And I said, so you can restore him into the body of Christ, but restoration does not necessarily mean you have to be restored to that exact same ministry that they had before. And so what you should do as a loving, kind brother to this person is go tell him, go do something else with your life. Ministry is not for you. And that's pretty harsh and that's pretty cold, but it's the conclusion that I've come to.
Right.
So, and I know people fail and that nobody's perfect and all this. I get all that. Okay. But there are certain things that are really disqualifying to ministry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But a lot of people want to make excuses for that.
Right.
Which is sad because it puts a black eye on what we're trying to do.
Right.
So I was just looking at something the other day about India, and their population's still growing and China's is shrinking. Amazing, right?
That's right. So that I have talked about demographics for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody in the thing says they just had Chinese dinner. I like Chinese food, by the way. I love it.
Yeah.
Our Chinese food.
Yeah.
I had I was in a big law firm, and we had a doctor on staff, and she and her husband went to China. And so I remember when she came back, this was 30 years ago, almost 40 years ago. She said, "So how was that trip?" And she said, "I ate some rice in China because we walked through an open market the first day there, and I see scorpions and bugs and all this stuff." And she goes, "But when we got out there, when we got to Hong Kong, we hit every American fast food place all that evening and just stuffed ourselves." And she said, "We have good tasting food in America, so because we can afford it. And, it's not to run them down or anything like that, but we don't eat that stuff." And so anyway, so Chinese population. There is a lady out there, I cannot remember her name, who's been doing some videos about Chinese population decline. And China has had one child policy for over 40 years, for 2 generations.
Yeah.
And it worked. So they didn't have babies. But it's interesting. She tracks that at one point, India had 1.1 billion people. Now India has 1.4 billion. And China, which has had this completely unsustainable birth rate for decades, still has 1.4 billion. And she makes a very good case that the population of China might be as 500 million people. Now that's still a lot of people, but they're aging.
Yeah.
And go to populationpyramid.net, go in the upper left-hand corner and select the country and go down, select China, select Russia, select Japan, and you will see the population pyramid always look like a bell curve. A lot of young kids, lower at the top. It's almost completely inverted now. No young kids and a lot of older people. So Japan is losing probably 2 million in population every year.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt that China is as well. China may be losing tens of millions in population each year. And so think about that. How big is Los Angeles? 4 million people maybe? Or I know the whole Southern California thing is pretty big.
Yeah.
Well, I'll use the example. The Columbus metro area has roughly 2 million people where I live. Right. Columbus, Ohio metro area. And that thing is, that means Japan loses a city like Columbus every year.
Wow.
And just think about that. And China has all these ghost cities, and they're blowing up ghost cities, and nobody ever really digs into it. And so Trump is over there now, and Xi's probably telling him we have 1.4 billion people, and it's a complete fabrication of lie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But then that has also implications for other things. Like I said, 500 million is still big, but their population is older, and older people don't make particularly effective soldiers.
No.
That's why we have young people in the military, right?
Yep.
So I think even population pyramid does not really collect what's happening. And other countries are in terrible shape. South Korea's fertility rate is somewhere like, I don't know, 0.3 per female.
Oh, wow.
You need 2.1 just to stay even. Cities in China All right, it's now coming out that Peter Zion, whether you like him or not, has done some pretty good tracking on China's population.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, they're cooking the books. They're not telling you the truth about the population of China.
Right.
And they're older. So I'm looking at the population pyramid right now. And I would say that 0 to 4 used to be like 6 to 8%. 0 to 4 years of age used to be like 6 to 8% of the population and a good growing population pyramid.
Right.
It's now 1.7% male, 1.5% female.
Wow.
I mean, you can go look populationpyramid.net. And if you go out to, so on this, if you go out to 2050 on this chart,
okay.
See, they're still saying almost 1.3 billion. This is complete fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But all of the population categories from 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 20 to 24, and 25 to 29 are below, male and female, below 2%. Every single one of those categories up to the age of 30.
Yikes.
And the population pyramid is inverted. So the highest percentage of people in the population are like 60, 55 to 75 to 80. They're all 3-point-something percent to 4.5% or higher.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sustain a culture like that. There is a coming collapse of China. And I don't know what it means for Bible prophecy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, it has implications like, could China sustain a war on Taiwan? Let alone all the military logistical issues that we have with modern warfare.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad, I don't know if he was on D-Day. I have been told he would never talk about it. He was injured in Belgium near the time of the Battle of the Bulge.
Yeah.
Never talked about it. So I've kind of put this together and talked to close friends that he had that he would have shared with, but not family, because they were other military men from World War II. So anyway, my dad went in through Normandy. Normandy's not happening again. It's just never happening again.
No.
Because of drone warfare and that type of thing. I don't see a big land invasion happening almost anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a big invasion coming, Ezekiel 38 and 39. And so I've just been thinking about how does that work and what does that look like? And if it's Russia's cooking the books too.
Yeah. He's looking real powerful right now.
Who is?
Turkey.
Well, Turkey's different. Turkey's got fairly good demographics.
Mm-hmm.
But the demographics are catching up everywhere in the world.
Right.
I mean, it was not too many years ago that they were talking about probably 10 cities in Africa were going to have populations between 90 and 150 million.
Wow.
Now, their birth rate has fallen as populations get more prosperous and they move into cities, they have less kids, and they change from rural to industrial. It's just a thing. But it's like, how do we deal with, what does this mean for all of our little Bible prophecy charts and stuff?
Right.
Russia, they said, has lost 325,000 killed in Ukraine. I think it's probably higher.
Yeah.
Ukraine's stats are awful too. So this is a big issue. I don't think we talk about it enough in our community.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think we really know how to talk about it.
Right.
So Japan right now, I'm showing here on population pyramid, 122 million people.
Ooh.
They used to be 130 million. And by 2100,
Mhm.
77 million.
Whoa, you want to show that chart on the screen? You should share the screen on that
Let's
one.
see if I can.
Yeah, you can do that. And then I'll pull it up as soon as you share a screen. That is interesting.
Okay.
Because I think it has a lot to do with Bible prophecy, to be honest with you.
Right.
There we go.
And so I think that that's let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. So that's Japan population.
122.
Well, right now they're at, so let's say 2025. Yeah, they're at like 122.
Okay.
So 10 years ago, they were 127. So they were 124.3, and then in 2025, 123.1. So that's 1.5 million people.
That's a lot.
That's a population decline of 2 million people.
Yeah. Like you said, that's Columbus, Ohio.
Right. So if you look at, and I think the China one's completely screwed up. But here's an interesting one. So this is Israel. Look at that population thing going up, 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 up. And that's pretty much a bell curve. So now Israel's probably what, 9 million, I think.
Yeah, I think
9.5 million. And they're talking by 2100. Of course, I don't think we'll get there, but that's 20 million people roughly. That's doubled. There's not too many countries in the world that are going to double, and that kind of has a Bible prophecy aspect to it too. So here's let me see. Here's Germany. Okay, do you see this?
Okay.
2099, 71 million people.
In Germany.
Today, 84 million.
Wow.
And these numbers are all going to be much worse.
Yeah.
And then you talk to people who are doing surveys and things, and they talk to, it's like, I think I saw Jordan Peterson talking about this the other day. Like, you take 4 females that are 30. Only one of them will ever have a baby.
Right.
2 don't want it. 1 might, probably won't, and maybe 1 will. And that's across the board. I played a clip of a guy last Sunday in my update, and he was saying, I'm 30. I don't know anybody who has a child or wants a child or who is married.
Wow, it's getting that bad.
Right. I mean, this past weekend, I went to my 50th college reunion graduation. And it's kind of good to go to those. I'm not using a cane. A number were. Okay. These are my classmates from college. Some of them were athletes and they're hobbling around on canes. And that's kind of disconcerting. But if you go to your 50th reunion, there's good news. You made it to the 50th reunion.
Right.
And then the other one is the college you went to is still in business, because colleges are failing all over the place right now.
Oh man. Yeah. They're
because the population pool is going down. I was on a college board for 25 years and I know the numbers pretty well. And it's always been a concern that there aren't going to be enough people to sustain your school.
Right.
If you're a residential college. And so that's always a big problem. Every Christian college goes through this. If they don't talk about it, then they're not really looking at reality. So anyway, so we made it. The school's still in business, so that's good news. But yeah, these so this populationpyramid.net is just I don't know. I think it's a fascinating. I as I said, I think the numbers on population declines are largely well, let's do this. Let's go to.
Is this like a think tank group?
I don't know who does it. It's, somebody geeks out and does it, So there's, let's see, Republic of Korea. I think that's that's Baby Kim. So, right now they're showing population of 51 million.
Okay.
And they'll be about a third that by 2100.
Wow.
They'll lose a third of that. No, they'll be about 1/3 what they were. What are the geopolitics on all of this? I don't know if South Korea is in here.
Yeah. Boy, there's going to be a significant drop globally.
Korea's a kind of a weird, maybe it's under Democratic Republic of Korea. Sorry if I'm making people sick with the scrolling back and forth. Korea's really bad.
Wow.
Let's see. Here it is. Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Oh, this is the South. This is North Korea. So what I just showed you was South Korea, a prosperous democracy, and birth rates around 0.3 or less. In many large cities in China now, the birth rates are 0.23, 0.22, 0.25.
Wow, they dropped.
Yeah. So here's Baby Kim's population, and he's going to go down from 26 million to 20 million. So that's so that's dropped by a third. By 33%. Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you noticed the Russia military parade this year on May Day didn't have any tanks or missiles.
Wow, they're all out.
Well, they're either out or they need them. A lot of they had massive stores of weapons from the Soviet era. Those have all been destroyed in 4.5 years in Ukraine. All of those stores are gone. And people thought they would never run out. Now they have manufacturing capabilities still, but the problem with Russia is that there's been a big brain drain, particularly in the engineering fields, particularly in oil and gas. So to the extent that they need to up their game on oil and gas production to make money, they may not have the engineering brains to do that. So that's why any attack by Ukraine on those facilities is a big deal.
Right.
Because they may not be able to fix them.
Boy.
So
that's kind of makes you rethink the whole thing with the Gog and Magog situation too.
Well, I differ with some of my friends on Gog Magog. I think Russia might be involved. Okay, well, so look at this. Let's just do China real quick. So let's just say China's not lying. They are lying. But look at their population mix right now. Look at how top heavy it is and how few children there are.
That means that population's going to die off really fast.
Right. And so if their population distribution is skewed to older, how are they going to get soldiers to do a ground invasion?
Impossible.
Right. So that's today. So let's go out here where they've declined by more than half. And so their population distribution is still all screwed up. This is much, much worse than it's showing. And this has never happened in human history, except for very brief periods of time. And there's no proof that any country will ever recover from that. So in Italy recently, so let's pull up Italy. Giorgia Meloni, kind of like her, but she's got a political party. She's got a. So here's look at this. So today you're looking at, if this is accurate, 60 million roughly, right?
Yeah.
Go out to 2100 or 35 million, about half.
Whoa.
No country will ever recover from this.
No.
So I almost said this at a conference one day. So there's a verse there that says, "When the Lord returns, will he find the faith on the earth?" It's kind of a rhetorical question.
Mm-hmm.
And we might update that to the Howler Revised Standard Version to say, "When the Lord returns, will there be anybody left?"
Oh man,
So I don't know. This is true across the board. So I might as well do the United States.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do America right now. Let's look at that for the United States.
Well, actually, this one is not that bad as I recall. It's been a while since I looked at it. So
okay, so we're what, 300 and what?
So there's Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey's going to decline too, but they're going to be increasing for the next 30 years. And that's significant too, because they're very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm kind of wearing out my welcome. So I personally, back to what I said, I'm not sure Russia's Magog. I think you can make a very strong case that it is not. That doesn't mean they're not involved.
Right.
But I think the better understanding of that is Magog and these other things are in Turkey. That's my understanding. Okay. And so that's the way I present it. And so, you're allowed to disagree with me.
Yeah.
So, okay. So look, here's America. What's it show? It shows it going up for the next 75 years.
That's interesting.
Right.
That is really interesting.
Now, part of that is immigration.
Mm-hmm.
And then that has an impact too. So, by the way, it's not her name. Her name is Amy Meek, M-E-K.
Oh, Amy Mack?
Yeah, from Rare Foundation. She testified in front of Congress today. You can find the testimony on X very easily.
It's on her account, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on her account. And she's excellent. I'm trying to get her for an interview. It's hard to nail her down. So
yeah, if you get it, let me know, because man, she is a tough one to get.
Right. Yeah, it's like there's a guy named Alex Taunton, Taunton.
Okay.
Conservative guy. He's pretty good. He got Insurrection Barbie interview.
Whoa.
Last week.
How did he pull that off?
I have no idea, And I think I saw a video of her recently on her own webpage.
Oh, okay.
Well, there was somebody looked like Insurrection Barbie, and she hosts these things on X all the time.
Mm-hmm.
These talks. And so I'm going to try to get her. So my substitute for that is I know that I'll have Karis Ray on in the next couple weeks. So, and I'll see her next week in DC.
Oh, sweet.
So anyway,
and you'll be back in time for the roundtable that you're doing on the 27th.
Yeah, I'll just be down there for driving down to DC for a few days.
Oh,
so you can turn that screen off if you want.
Okay.
I don't know how to. Oh wait, is there in my screen share? There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm going to a conference for the Middle East Forum.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Pipes started that. He or his father started that organization, and there'll be a lot of guys that you would know that will be at that meeting. And one of the things that they're doing at that meeting is, and I signed up for it, is a war game exercise to start the meeting off. So Wednesday morning, we'll be doing a war game exercise, or Tuesday morning.
Oh, okay.
we'll be doing a war game exercise for a few hours on Turkey.
Oh,
which
okay.
kind of fits right. That's kind of right in my sweet spot. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'll be reporting on that over the next couple of weeks.
Nice. There's a guy there from Intermountain Christian News. That might be there too as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he has his own news publication. His name is Anthony Harper.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look him up.
Yeah.
So tell him to look me up.
Oh yeah, I will. I will for sure. Because he does work for Real News Israel as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
I've probably seen him, but I'm not placing the name right now.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good at what he does, and he had a hard time with Miss we'll circle back to that when she was in there with Weekend at Biden's. Yeah. Yeah, he said they gave him a rough time when Joe Biden was in office.
Well, I think they're I think that and by the way, I don't know what's going to come out of Washington. Okay.
Right.
Prosecutions and that type of thing. I'm not holding my breath.
Me neither.
I know these cases are difficult to put together. They take time. Trump's really only been back in office for
almost 2 years.
Well, no, it was January of 2025.
That's right. So yeah.
So it would be so we're talking 16 months.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty quick to be putting together very complicated cases where you haven't had access to the data, information, documents, and everything you need. And you just don't. I know the Democrats would do it. They would just throw something together, whether they're going to win it or not. And I don't think the Republicans, as a general rule, do it that way. So I think that it's going to be. I'm just not optimistic. I don't think we're going to see a ton of stuff coming out of the Epstein files. Those cases are largely pretty old. Witnesses have reached settlements, and I just don't know. I'm not optimistic. But look, I'll be happy if things are done that are right and true and good solid cases.
Right. Right.
So because if you bring junkie cases, you hurt your credibility.
Oh, absolutely.
Unless you're a Democrat. Junkie cases are a mark of you. At least you're doing something.
Yeah, they have a reputation for that.
So I think the bigger thing to watch right now legally is NGOs. I believe that the NGO sphere has been very corrupt. And money has been laundered through these NGOs to do things they're not supposed to be doing, and they're not supposed to be getting that money. And I do have some confidence that Scott Bessent at Treasury and the guys at DOJ will make that happen. Something happened there to unpack that sewer of wrongful conduct.
Yeah, and the Chinese having people to purchase land near military bases. Wow, how illegal is that?
Right. And sometimes, by the way, just let me say something about land purchases. So I don't like that. And I get this thing all the time, like Bill Gates is buying all the farmland in the country. And he's not. He's buying a lot, a big landowner just died. Ted Turner died the other day.
Oh, that eugenicist. Yeah, that guy.
But that's ranches, and if you've ever been up to San Simeon, the Hearst Castle, Hearst controlled, I don't know how many 1,000 square miles of he owned like 100 miles of contiguous California coast. He's a huge landowner. But he had a ranch in Mexico that was 10 times the size of what he owned up in the San Simeon area there along the coast.
Yeah.
So he was spectacularly wealthy. So Bill Gates doesn't own anything like that. So the best I can determine is Gates has bought about 300,000 acres of U.S. farmland. So he's maybe the largest private owner of U.S. farmland.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm just Googling it. So as of 2025, U.S. farmland totaled about 880 million acres. I know. If you've driven across the United States, it's a very, 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 very big country.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know, I don't know how many times you could put Europe into the United States. And we've driven the West Coast and back several times in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take 300,000 acres divided by 800 million, you come up with a number that's not that. I mean, it's less than 0.5% of all the farmland in the country is owned by Bill Gates. So I think it's not. I know people are concerned about it. I'm concerned about it, but I'm just saying is that he doesn't own the vast amount of that. I mean, he owns such a small percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I saw some other statistics. Somebody was unpacking. Oh, so Megyn Kelly. Circle back to Megyn Kelly.
Yeah, let's go. Let's Jen Psaki back to Megyn Kelly.
We send all this money to Israel. So there was some extra money sent during the last year and a half. So excluding that, it's like $3.5 billion per year.
Right.
And when you look at the total amount of the U.S. budget, the amount sent to Israel is like less than 0.1%.
Right.
Of the U.S. budget. So stop saying that we spend all of our money in Israel. That's an anti-Semitic, Jew-hating trope that people throw out there. And they should be ashamed of themselves for doing it.
Yeah, and Carrie Bowler is known for that too.
Okay.
Yeah. She's a nut job, man. Former Miss California.
So the question is, somebody asked a question in the chat. I see this. What is Bill doing with all the farmland? Well, here in Central Ohio, he bought about 50,000 acres, at least from what I've been able to piece together. And about 4,500 of those acres is going to be made into a solar farm, a solar panel farm.
Oh no, the one that's a disaster in California going towards Nevada.
Yeah, where were we? Was it flying into Las Vegas or? Remember they used to have that one where it all pointed towards a tower?
Yes.
So we flew by there once and we flew through the light. You could feel the heat inside the plane as we were flying into Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
anyway. Yikes. Wow. Some people have some very interesting questions.
What happened to Patty Hearst? I think she's still around.
Well, somebody said that.
Wow, I did not know this.
What?
She's 4 days younger than I am.
Oh, wow.
And infinitely more wealthy.
Yeah, she's got plenty of money.
So, but she's married. Well, she was married and had some kids and everything. So I think she lived kind of a fairly normal life. I personally felt that was a miscarriage of justice. That she was put in prison for working with the people who had kidnapped her.
Yeah, that was.
I'm
terrible.
sorry. She was mentally under pressure.
Mm-hmm. Patty Hearst.
So, yeah.
Wow, she's still alive, huh?
Still alive, 72. Which is a good young age to be these days.
Yes, very good young age to be.
I'm 72, Patty Hearst is 72, and President Erdogan of Turkey is 72.
And how old is Putin? Let's see.
I think he's about 73 or 4.
Hmm.
And I mean, and so, you know, some of the, you know, everybody's got their own ideas about. So Putin is 73.
Okay.
74 this year. And Xi of China, I think he's 73 also. But I'm not sure.
Wow.
He is June 15th. He'll be 73 next month.
So he's a day after the President of the United States' birthday.
June 15th, 1953.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's a day, a day after Donald Trump's birthday.
Right.
Yeah. And I think Donald Trump's going to be 80 this year.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be 80.
These things didn't happen when I was a kid. We didn't have leaders this old.
Right.
I mean, Bill Clinton is older than Xi, is older than Vladimir Putin.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then there's Hillary. I mean, she's got to be what, 75, 76, I guess.
Yeah, she's pushing that.
So
yeah, Hillary Clinton is a very interesting
78.
Oh my.
She doesn't look a day over 97.
We were thinking the same number. I was thinking about
I never met her. I was at the American Bar Association convention in 1992.
Uh-huh.
And it was during the election campaign. I'm trying to think who was running for president. Anyway, she got an award at the American Bar Association convention. And all these crazy liberal lawyers that were in the ABA before I dropped my membership, which I think was right after that convention. She was like a rock star at that convention. And I thought, oh, this is not a good sign that all these lawyers love her. All the lawyers who would come to a lawyer convention.
Uh-huh.
And then they also gave an award that year to Anita Hill.
Oh, the one that was coming against Clarence Thomas.
That's right. She got an award from the American Bar Association. It was disgusting. I went and played golf. That's what I
did. They actually gave her an award?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's terrible.
For courage or something like that.
Oh, brother.
I know.
And she lied about the whole thing.
Well, that's kind of interesting that the lawyers would give somebody who lied a big award. Well, maybe it's not so interesting. Maybe it's just the facts.
Oh, man. I tell you, we're headed to a different direction these days.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, here it is.
American Bartender Association. Very funny. Someone in the chat.
Oh, Andrea Cortez.
Yeah, somebody said that it was the American Bartender Association. Meeting that I went to. There was some alcohol consumed at that meeting, I'm pretty sure. So that was back when you would actually go to San Francisco and think you were going to a nice place.
Yeah, but not so nice anymore.
I went in 2019 and I said I'll never go back.
So, John, I know you know about the Sodom and Gomorrah festival that's supposed to happen next month at the Dead Sea.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Mm-mm.
That's just not a smart thing. Can I answer a question in the chat?
Yeah.
It says, somebody says, your thought on Satan's little season. Okay, do you know what Satan's little season is, Ben?
Satan's little season. That would be.
Okay, I'll tell you. This is not a test, by the way. So it is I don't know how to say this without being pejorative. It is a very weird, very strange, very bad form of preterism. Preterism is those guys who believe that
the Bible's done.
everything happened. Yeah, all Bible prophecy has been fulfilled, except maybe Jesus is coming back.
That's
and so they say, it's a very bad view.
Mm-hmm.
And it's held by all these guys, like some of these Christian nationalists and stuff like that. And they believe we're going to build this great kingdom. That's never happened,
Yeah.
So Satan's little season, it says in Revelation that Satan is loosed from being chained for a season to deceive the nations.
Right.
So Satan's, and I've talked to people that have I don't know, fallen into this or fallen for this. And so they believe that Jesus returned, the millennial reign already happened, and that Satan has now come out to deceive the nations, and he has deceived the nations by completely changing history and everything, so you don't know that the millennium occurred.
I talked to someone who believed that too, John, and I'm like, bro, man,
you cannot talk to these people.
No, they get angry too.
It's like talking to QAnon people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always interesting that sort of, I think we all have a tendency to look at the prophetic scriptures and say, well, that's already taken place. We don't need to worry about that. Oh, really? Are you sure about that? Because these prophecies have a tendency to happen over and over again. Sort of, they recapitulate. Now, I have friends, by the way, that will disagree with this. But for example, one area of controversy is, did Isaiah 17 happen? Has Damascus been destroyed? And so guys that I do conferences with, they will say, oh yeah, Isaiah 17 happened. We don't need to worry about that one anymore. And some will even go into it a little bit deeper. And guys who I like to listen to, they will say, well, Isaiah 1 to 17 or 18 was about a certain kingdom based in Damascus, Aram, I think it's called Aram. And that was all fulfilled. So we don't need to worry about that. It's all fulfilled prophecy. We can study it to show that it was fulfilled. So all of Isaiah 1 through 17, I've heard them say, was fulfilled. But here's the problem. It was fulfilled, in the time of the Northern Kingdom before 722 AD. But here's the problem. In Isaiah 1 to 17 is Isaiah chapter 9, which talks about a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and his name shall be called, the thing. And Matthew, writing under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, looks at that prophecy, which, by the way, if you read Isaiah chapter 9, you might not really think, what does this have to do with the Mashiach coming? But it is a messianic prophecy because Matthew says this is that, when it happens, this is that which was prophesied by Isaiah that said a virgin shall conceive. So you can't say that all of Isaiah 1 to 17 was fulfilled back at the time of the Northern Kingdom era, when we know Matthew comes in and says, well, wait a minute, Isaiah 9 was just fulfilled. So it gets kind of tricky. And I think sometimes there's a default thing like, well, if we say it's been fulfilled, we don't need to worry about it.
Right.
And I just don't think that that's a valid way to go about it. And so a lot of prophecies, and I will look, I'm not dogmatic about this by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm subject to people making fun of me and telling me I'm an idiot and stupid and all of that, which they do sometimes on my YouTube comments. But I think that we need to be careful. So, for example, I'm seeing things in Daniel chapter 8 that are sort of sounding like what's going on in the Middle East right now. So somebody in the chat asked, where do I think the Middle East war goes? My own personal view is that you're going to see some wars. And you might see some wars that kind of look like in Ezekiel 38, but maybe they're not. But
wow.
I think I'm just saying is, I think one friend of mine calls them a false fulfillment, like a false fulfillment of Ezekiel 38. And I think we just need to be open to that. That's the way that this is going to go about. So my own personal opinion is that Ezekiel 38 and 39 happens more towards the end of the 70th week, maybe as part of the Armageddon scenario, the attack on Jerusalem. So I'm just saying that's just I'm not dogmatic about it. And I watch for the alliances forming and that sort of thing. So,
okay. So, John, let me ask you this. A lot of people are saying things about Jeremiah 49 when it comes to Iran, or they'll use Obadiah 1. Well, the book of Obadiah. They're saying, oh man, the Jeremiah 49 prophecy is being fulfilled right now in Iran. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's being fulfilled right now.
Me neither.
So, and I don't think 49 Isaiah or Jeremiah 49 is being fulfilled yet right now either. I do think that there's a future fulfillment of that. But so there's a couple tendencies that we have. We want to say this is that which was prophesied. So we have a tendency to kind of okay. Here's the example. So I bought a new pair of shoes. Okay. And initially they were a little tight. And I can tell you that now they're kind of doing okay. I've worn them a bit. But when I first got them, it was like trying to put a size 13 foot into a size 10 shoe.
Ouch. Yeah.
That doesn't really work very well.
No.
And you got to use a shoehorn and shove it in there and really work hard to shove. And sometimes I think we do this with Bible prophecy is we try to make it fit our scenario. And I'm like, I'm not sure I know where you're coming from, but I'm not sure that that's the way it's going to work out.
Right.
So, and I've said this, we're all going to be updating our charts. Believe me, that is a prophecy from John Howard.
The church will change.
Right. We joke at, at conferences, the 30 minutes of silence in heaven is to prophecy teachers to update their charts to make them conform to what's actually happened on the ground. So, I mean, I think we all have pretty good parameters that we're working with, but some of the finer details.
Yeah.
So, and I will say, this is not to tout me as some kind of special guy, but I go to conferences and hardly anybody ever mentions Turkey. And I just think and I talk about Turkey a lot. And so now I'm going to the Middle East Forum Conference. Okay, this is a big think tank, longtime think tank, and they've got phenomenal people working in that think tank. And they can choose anything in the world for their war game scenario at a time when the nations are at war. And what do they choose? Turkey.
Yep.
Okay. So I kind of rest my case. I don't think, and for some reason, my X feed has been morphed into
Turkey info.
a lot of Turkey news. A lot of Turkey news.
Wow.
And there are some, so just on that alone area, I talked about it Sunday. I'll be talking about it more. I talked about it 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing called the Blue Homeland Doctrine.
Ooh.
And let me see if I can find a picture of it.
Okay. I'd like to see that. The Blue Homeland Doctrine, huh?
Okay, so here is share screen. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
So that's Turkey. And
that's the area.
Just orient you. You can see Lebanon to the south. You can see Cyprus to the south. You can see Crete. You can see Greece. You can see and so what Turkey is doing, in fact, they're working on, you may be seeing legislation from Turkey to adopt legislatively their Blue Homeland Doctrine.
Ouch.
And what it is, because Turkey's in kind of a unique thing. Let me, I'm going to just change this.
Okay.
Let me see here. Let's new. Okay. So here's the Middle East. Here's Turkey. This is, let me make this. Are you seeing this?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. This is Google Earth. So let me do a little 3D thing. Oh, by the way, it's not a flat Earth. I'm sorry.
I could zoom in on it if you like too.
No, that I can zoom in on it. So you see Israel here, you see Lebanon, Syria, Cyprus, Turkey. Now, the way international law works is that you have 12 miles of territorial waters from your coastline.
Mm.
And then you have a thing called an exclusive economic zone for 200 miles. But what happens when you have a situation where, for example, Turkey and Cyprus aren't 200 miles apart?
Right.
So they each have 12 miles of territorial waters, but let's say they're 20 miles apart. So that each having 12 would be 24. But let's say there's a place where it's only 20 miles. What do? Mm-hmm. You split the difference.
Yeah.
So this has been a big issue for Turkey, because if you look at Turkey, what's Turkey's problem? It's kind of wedged in there with not a lot of big ocean around it.
Right.
United States, it's easy for us. Okay.
Yep. Sure.
12 miles, 200 miles, no problem, except maybe Cuba. So we got to, so let's say it's 90 miles. We have to make like a 45-mile exclusive economic zone. But Turkey has this problem. Now, they control the Black Sea, by the way. So if you look, there is the Bosporus right there.
Mm-hmm.
Istanbul straddles the Bosporus, and that's not very wide. Mm-hmm. Turkey they also have a thing called the Dardanelles. That's this area right here.
Okay.
And you see how narrow that is?
That's very narrow.
If Russia wants to get its ships out of the Black Sea, they have to get through the Dardanelles. And Turkey, a couple of years ago, opened a new bridge, one of the biggest suspension bridges in the world across the Dardanelles, longest suspension bridges. A very big deal. These things cost a lot of money to build. So there's very narrow passages, and there's all kinds of treaties governing the entrance and exit of ships from the Black Sea and how much tonnage and all of that stuff. And there's tunnels and stuff, and there's bridges across the Bosphorus. There's tunnels, there's bridges.
Mm-hmm.
So the big mosque that we talk about all the time is, let's see, it's right here. It's not too far. Well, it's near the Bosporus.
Okay.
But what Turkey's doing is to make money. So trade routes are a very big thing. So Turkey recently built a large airport. I think it's this up here. See this airport? It's pretty far outside of Istanbul.
Okay.
It's the Istanbul airport. I believe it is the largest airport in the world.
Wow. Bigger than LAX, huh?
The only thing that LAX is big in is being a massive problem for travelers.
Yeah, big time.
That is somebody. I was doing something for another ministry, and they said, we'll fly you out. So I could save like $300 by flying to LAX. Never again. It took me, so I was staying out in the Inland Empire. So from the time I walked off my plane until I had my car pulling out of the rental car parking lot was longer than the flight from Dallas to LAX.
You're about 4 or 5 hours, huh?
Well, no, it was ridiculous. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I came back to LAX, I forgot I need gas. I need to fill the car up with gas, right?
Oh no.
So I'm getting close to the airport, and I saw the name of the street, and I thought I shouldn't get off there, but I get off at Crenshaw Boulevard.
Oh no, you're in the neighborhood.
That's the hood.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there getting gas at this gas station.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking, and I'm all of a sudden, and I'm not exaggerating, 45 or more pieces of emergency equipment from hook and ladder trucks, ambulances, cops, fire trucks, ambulances come roaring up to the intersection there. And I'm thinking, okay, this is it for John. Love you.
Time to go.
You know, Jesus, here I come. This is going to be like a Rodney, what was his name? Reginald Denny or something? The truck driver.
Reginald Denny. Yeah.
I think it was like on Crenshaw Boulevard in the Rodney King riots. And I'm thinking like, and they had hook and ladder trucks, at least 2 of them. There's not a building over 2 stories tall in that whole area.
Right.
And you know how I knew that it was not a big problem? I looked around. This is about 10 years ago. I looked around and nobody had their cell phone up doing this. Everybody was acting like it was normal. So I figured if it was something was really going to go down, people would be videoing it, right?
Or ducking for cover.
Right. So anyway, so I got out of there and everything was fine. But so anyway, so what were we talking about? LAX. Oh, so it's Istanbul. So huge airport. Huge airport. There's a tower here. I don't know if it shows up. They have a giant air traffic control tower. Yeah, I'm making everybody sick by zooming in and out. It's in a very strange shape. It's a giant tulip. I'm not sure the exact reference for that. It's to represent some architect's idea of a tulip. But what Erdogan is doing, so you see that this airport is fairly far from Istanbul. But Erdogan did it because he wanted to have the busiest airport in the world. It wanted to be a hub.
Right.
And the other thing he's doing is he's building a thing called Canal Istanbul. And I can't remember if I believe it goes east. It's west of the airport, which would be in this area. And so I think they're using some of these, like they're digging a canal all the way from the Black Sea down here to the Aegean Sea. Okay, so that's one thing. So Turkey wants this thing. And by the way, Turkey thinks that, so here's the Crimea Peninsula. Turkey thinks that belongs to them.
Oh, boy.
Okay. And they don't care what Vladimir Putin says.
Do you think Erdogan's preparing his son for taking over all of this?
Man, I'll tell you what, he's all over the place now. I follow his account on X, and he's extremely religious. I'll talk about that in just a moment before we terminate this for tonight. But here in the Aegean Sea, so you have Greece, Corinth, Athens, and all this stuff. But what do you see here in the Aegean Sea? You see a whole bunch of islands. So imagine making up the map. Most of those islands, by the way, belong to Greece under international treaties and everything.
Right.
But so, for example, so here's Turkey, the upper coast, and here are Greek islands. And this distance is not very far. This is like 5 or 6 miles. So what this means is Turkey doesn't have much coastal water that's theirs under international treaties and law.
Right.
And Erdogan is chafing under this. He thinks the treaties that were signed back at the time of the fall of the Ottoman Empire, roughly a little over 100 years ago, were done to really stick it to Turkey.
Right.
And so there is legislation proposed in Turkey right now to enact this blue homeland doctrine that we talked about. And they're finding natural gas and stuff in the Black Sea and that type of thing. And then what Erdogan did was they took over the northern part of Cyprus. So this is 2 countries, Cyprus. And he did that. So he'll go here. So let's say they control this part of, so you go to Cyprus over here to the coast to the right.
Okay.
So straight down here is a peninsula. That's Haifa. That's the port of Haifa.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how far that is. 50 miles. It can't be much more than 50 miles. And over here is, on this sort of place where it juts out on the right, is Beirut. So there's all kinds of treaties and things. And then Israel found gas off the coast. And a lot of this is in dispute. Naftali Bennett signed away some of it when he was the prime minister for a short time, or Yair Lapid did. I can't remember which one was stupid. They were both stupid enough to do it.
I think Lapid would be a bonehead to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if he can spell his own name though. That's how I don't have much. I'm not very impressed with his
right
thing. But there's a lot of prophetic stuff here. Tyre and Sidon is along here. You got the Lebanon coast. Rosh Hanikra right here, Nahariya. Been there, had dinner with friends there years ago. And so, but when you go from Nahariya to Beirut, and all this stuff is where they're withdrawing, they're getting people, southern Lebanon, Israel's in there. And this distance from southern Lebanon, the border, to Beirut is not much more than 40 miles.
Wow.
If that.
Well,
maybe it's a little bit more, certainly less than 50.
Wow.
Because I could tell you is that Damascus, so if you see this, I don't know if it shows up on my right there, that's Beirut. And if you go over here to Syria, to Damascus, from Damascus to Beirut is 50 miles. That's not very far.
No.
So anyway, so Turkey's trying to do something with blue homeland, and this is a very, very big deal for President Erdogan of Turkey. And I said I was going to bring something. Oh, so here's the deal. and I need to get going. But by the way, are you having a cool spring out there?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's like I need to put stuff on my yard to kill things, and it needs to be like 75 degrees, and it hasn't been 75 degrees except, when I'm out of town. And I can't, so I got some weeds growing. It's driving me crazy.
Oh boy.
So that's why I like golf, by the way, Vetty. I get to play on a great lawn and I don't have to take care of it.
That's true. That's
the way
kind of
my
true.
mind works. So, but understand, in Syria, Damascus fell in December 2024.
Mm-hmm.
David Wormser said, I've referenced this in conferences and stuff, that the fall of Damascus was a geopolitical earthquake in the Sunni Islam world. Turkey is Sunni Islam. Syria is now Sunni Islam. Assad and the Iranians tried to drive all the Sunnis out, and they did. Millions of Sunnis left Syria and went into Europe, which is destabilizing Europe like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, they're falling.
Right. And because you get to about 10% Muslim population and you're toast.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. So, but when the Sunni jihadis under al-Jawani, al-Shara, funded and directed by Turkey, took over Damascus in December 2024, that was the first time that Sunni Islam was in control of Damascus in over 1,000 years.
Wow.
And the Sunnis, the way Erdogan and these Muslim Brotherhood Sunni guys think of this, Damascus is our geopolitical, religious, and geopolitical capital.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important, more important than Mecca. And so now the Saudis would disagree, but the Saudis want people to come to Mecca because they want people to
spend money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the fall of Damascus is a huge deal, and it's a big deal in Bible prophecy. And so to my friends who make the case that Damascus is irrelevant in Bible prophecy, I will just say this. Some of us think that it is. And just let me throw this question out there. If Damascus is relevant in Bible prophecy, you would live in a world where Damascus was very important to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Question. Do we live in a period of human history where Damascus is now very important to somebody? It is. United Arab Emirates guys that live over here, United Arab Emirates on the right, one guy is investing, just announced today or yesterday, $19 billion to rebuild Syria, part of Syria. Now, I'm just saying this is the fact, okay? Maybe it's not significant. We don't know. But I'm saying it's happening right now, right in front of our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something that we need to pay attention to, because the guys who have this Sunni theology, eschatology, they think they can make all of this stuff happen. The Shias in Iran, by the way, they're crazy. They're lunatics. But by the way, I was watching a video yesterday. I cannot remember who it was. And the guy was making the case that historically, Shia and Sunni don't get along.
Mm-hmm.
But what really radicalized Iran, they didn't think Khomeini, the first Iranian leader, was taking it far enough. They were glad when he died. Khomeini was translating things, writing things, and was heavily influenced, brought in the influence of the Muslim Brotherhood into Iran under Shia Islam. Turkey is Muslim Brotherhood. Qatar is Muslim Brotherhood.
And Qatar has lots of money.
They have lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, the development of the defense industry in Turkey is pretty stunning. Now, some of it may be fluff. For example, they claimed the other day that they have a new missile that will do Mach 25, and it can reach London. It can reach all the way into Africa. It can reach all of the Middle East. It can reach into Russia. Now, whether that thing will go into production or not the statistics on it are pretty shocking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's happening right now. I mean, they just had a big defense contractor meeting, signed up billions of dollars of business.
Mm-hmm.
And Turkey is now planning. So I read where Ukraine plans to build. Ukraine, in the midst of a war, I don't know how they're doing this, is planning to build 9 million drones this year.
Wow.
Turkey just put in place a plan to build drones in every, I think they call them districts, like a state. Every district or state of Turkey, there's like 81 or 91 of them. Every one of them will have drone factory.
Wow. Did you hear about Japan making drones out of cardboard?
No, I've heard of Iran making a new Ayatollah out of cardboard. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, kind of, huh? Kind of, sort of. Yeah. With all this information being put out, Turkey's going to have a significant power play in all of this.
Yeah, look, it's clear that they're part of this Ezekiel 38 alliance. I don't think anybody really disputes that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, the Assyria part, you look over here in northern Iraq, up towards Iran, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia. That's actually where Erdogan's family comes from.
Wow.
Up there along the Black Sea, which is the northern regions of the Assyrian Empire. And I'm still trying to unpack that, but there's some guys who are very, very learned in the Greek. And I'm telling you, their conclusion is Turkey is Magog.
Wow.
So,
wow. Oh.
So, and people say, well, Moscow is directly north of Jerusalem, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually not. If you take a string and you go from Turkey, from Jerusalem to the North Pole, you go right through the middle of Turkey. Moscow's a little bit off to the right. So we'll see. I'm not saying to ignore Russia or anything like that. That's not, but don't ignore Turkey. That's my advice.
Mm-hmm. Well, Turkey and Russia are going to probably be in alliance. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Let me do something real quick. I'm going to do. Let's see. What's this guy's? Hakan Fidan is he's a foreign minister of Turkey. He's Muslim Brotherhood. But I noticed this a while back. So this is his X page. I hope you can see that, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. You can see I follow Insurrection Barbie, so she's doing a thing over here, live thing.
You got a space going.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, but look at this picture. This is, let me blow this up. This is the world according to Hakan Fidan.
Oh, man.
Do you see what he did? How he blew up Turkey to cover all of Europe,
mm-hmm.
North Africa, that type of thing.
Right.
That's by design. That's not an accident. That's what he really believes Turkey. So he might be one of the ones that would be a candidate, I think, to replace the current president, Erdogan.
I think he might be even more dangerous.
Well, he used to be the Turkish equivalent of the head of the Turkish equivalent of the Mossad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, anyway.
Guys like that, you got to watch out for.
Right. So it's interesting. There's a lot of things in play right now.
Yeah. Wow.
By the way, what were we going to talk about tonight?
I know, right? Oh man. So I guess Erdogan's son's out of play on that one, I guess.
I think you should watch him. He's being very carefully crafted to assume power. And by the way, the Israeli Channel 14 did a pretty good expose. I think it was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
About how so Qatar and UAE used to launder money for Iran, right?
Yeah.
But they've kind of backed off now because they're getting attacked. But here comes Turkey
to the rescue,
laundering the money for Iran. That was a report on Channel 14 in Israel yesterday.
Oh man, I gotta check out that report.
It'll be in Hebrew, but just you can find it Hebrew, videos that are translated to English from that channel. It's not that hard to find. Just look like Turkey Iran money on X, and you'll come up with the videos.
Okay.
Good solid reporting.
Okay.
And I think it's true. And by the way, there's a X account called the Clash Report, and I cite it. And I'm not sure I agree with my other colleagues that follow Turkey. People come out and say, "Oh, it's just propaganda. It's just propaganda. Ignore it." But I think it's wrong to ignore it. I think it's very pro-Turkey. What would you expect? And by the way, it's probably, when you cut back the layers, it's probably owned by the Erdogan family. And it's all news. It's Turkey news. Let me see here. Oh, I don't have my screen share on. So Clash Report is, everybody's saying, "Oh, don't pay any attention to it. It's completely fake." Let me pull this up, share this screen real quick.
Okay.
Oops.
There we go.
Okay. And so you see it's and they have a lot of things they put up tons of videos. Just scroll down here, okay? And it's like all this pro-Turkish stuff, but they put up videos. And so here is Armenia's prime minister. And the other night I checked it, they had like 20 videos of Donald Trump, and they were accurate videos.
Wow.
I don't usually grab the videos from there because I don't like that Clash Report watermark that they put on everything, but I go find it. But where am I supposed to go find all this stuff? Okay. On about Turkey.
Wow.
So look at this. UAE now building anti-drone defenses around oil storage facilities. And that's not Turkish propaganda. Okay. It is pro-Turkish, but you understand what I'm saying is they post a lot of news. And so just understand it's going to have a pro-Turkish bias. And by the way, this is a video of a Hezbollah drone targeting a single Israeli soldier.
Wow.
And what they're doing is, so Israel has developed that looks like it's near Metula.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm pretty sure that I've been up. Those towers look familiar. They have.
Now, haven't you visited that area?
Yeah, I was up there. Actually had lunch up there one day.
Mm-hmm.
Cooked by Drew. So you see, they killed that Israeli soldier.
Ouch.
And what they're doing is Israel's developed ways to. So here you see it coming across the border fence.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then it's going to head to this mountaintop where there's these towers. Pretty sure that's right by Metula. And see these roads here? These roads are always used to be filled with, when I was there, with UNIFIL, the UN peacekeeping forces.
Mm.
So I'm pretty sure that's right there by Metula. And but what they're doing is Israel developed very sophisticated ways to jam the drones, because the signals are sent to the drones.
Yep.
And now what they do is they fly them connected to fiber optic wires.
Gotcha.
So they can't be jammed. Now that limits their distance and payload.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sort of like, okay, yeah, so I got hit by a 20-pound bomb instead of a 30-pound bomb, because there's a certain weight to every length of wires of the fiber optic wires. So for every, I don't know, 20 feet, you add a couple ounces. And so that adds up. So they have a limited range of like 6 to 8 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And so, by the way, now what Israel's doing is they're installing barbed wire that rotates.
Holy smokes.
So that this is the innovation that's going on in war. And this is being done in Ukraine. I mean, I've seen pictures in Ukraine of just fields full of fiber optic wire. It's unbelievable.
Mm.
Well, now they figured out, okay, well, we'll put like blades on the barbed wire and we'll rotate the wire. And if if the fiber optic cable hits it, it cuts it, and then the signal is lost.
Oh, man.
Let's see, hang on a second here. Let me, well, I can't, hang on a second here. This is a big deal. I'm not sure how to get this to share. Hang on a second. Because I think we should end with this, but okay, so what I'm going to do here is I think this will work. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, that is a map of all the undersea fiber optic cables in the world.
Whoa.
I believe that there is 750,000 miles of undersea cables.
That's a lot.
But the one thing you see is that look at the Strait of Hormuz. That's things full of undersea fiber optic internet cables.
Mm-hmm.
And now Iran is threatening that. And I think in the peace deal they proposed to Trump, they said, we want complete sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. That doesn't work under international law.
No, not at all.
They're not entitled to that whole territory for their own playground. Because of international law, there has to be safe passage in all of these different corridors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big deal. And they're threatening to cut under, and so they want to control all the fiber optic cables that go through there. And I think the proposal was that if a cable gets cut, Iran will be the one to fix it.
No, not a good look.
Maybe you should be at the State Department then, because there are people at the State Department would say, okay, well, then we don't have to worry about it. Yeah, no, you really have to worry about it if Iran is fixing it. That's when you really, really ought to worry.
Because I don't think it'll get fixed.
But this is a very big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway.
Wow. That is, wow. Lots going on, guys. I can guarantee you that. Wow.
So there we go. Just 1 hour, just like I planned.
Yeah. Hey, at least you reclaimed your time. That's
that's right.
John, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Every time we get together, it's always great. Would you please do us the honor and just pray us out?
Sure. Let's pray. Hey, Lord, thank you for the blessing that you gave us with your prophets many thousands of years ago to give us information about things that we might be looking at in the time that we live, so that we can understand what's going on and use that as a method to share the gospel with others around us. Pray you'll give us those opportunities. Pray you'll bless Ven and his program. Pray you'll help it to grow and reach more people. And we pray that you'll fill all of us with your Holy Spirit and give us wisdom and understanding of the times and things going on in the days that we live in. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen and amen. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget Fellowship Bible Chapel. Great channel, folks. So go there and check it out. And for those of you who were listening on the audio side, you got to check out the video portion because there are great maps being shown on there. And it's just great. All right. God bless you guys.
Thanks,
I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, John. I'll see you guys soon. Don't let the government be your daddy. You are self-governed.
Vindog Radio.